Watch this for the answer.
She is 100% Sha'carri Richardson, and she wants everybody to know her name. Who's going to Tokyo? We're about to find out. Women's 100 is underway. JVN Oliver, a fantastic start. She's putting the pressure on Richardson. Here comes Sha'carri. Richardson's going to Tokyo, 10:87.
Hair flowing in the wind, her eyelashes flapping, and her 5'1" little body, little legs going a million miles an hour.
She had no problem with that shit.
What's a junkie like me got to say about stuff like this? An Addicts review. She's 21 years old and she won the women's 100-meter race in the US track and field trials in Oregon. This is just last month. But her positive test automatically invalidated her in the marquee event.
So she was going to go to Tokyo. Now they're saying she can't go to Tokyo. What are your thoughts about that decision?
She just tested positive for weed. Okay. And now they're suspending her for a month and now she can't go to Tokyo. So what are your thoughts on that?
What do you think about her being disqualified? So what are your thoughts on Sha'carri getting disqualified for smoking weed?
How do you feel about testing positive for marijuana? Let me know in the comments.
All right, so here at Recovering Addict, we got to get Don's opinion on this. So Don, welcome to the show. Glad you're here.
Thank you, man. Glad to be here.
You've heard what's going on with Sha'carri, right?
Oh yeah.
Fastest girl in the America right now, and the sixth fastest in the world.
Yep.
She cannot compete in Tokyo because she tested positive for marijuana. And we got to get your thoughts on this situation right here.
You know, as a recovering addict myself, I think where I first go to it is I say, you know, here's the thing. She knew the rules, and she decided to use marijuana against the way the rules work, right? And so, I heard an interview that she did, and she owned up to it, you know, and so I have empathy for her in the sense that her mom passed away, and that's why she said she was using it was to cope with that. And so, but the thing is, we need boundaries in our life. We need rules. A lot of people talk about the legalizing of it in America and where we're going with things like that. I can completely see the gender thing. Here's the thing though, there's USADA and there's WADA, the United States Anti-Doping Administration, and then the World Anti-Doping Administration. And the rules apply to the World Anti-Doping Administration, which means the athletes that are you know, running for Holland or whatever sport for Holland that are right there in Amsterdam, you know, they have to abide by the same rules. So that's one of the things that even no matter how much we try to do in this country, 19 states or whatever, the laws behind or not, the rules are the rules, and she knew what she was getting into. And so and then the thing about it being performance enhancing, so testosterone is certainly performance enhancing for, you know, women against other women. I mean, that's certainly, I can agree upon that. Mm-hmm. What I'd say about weed though is, you know, I look at performance enhancing it in a couple different ways. It either is something that increases the positive effects or your positive abilities, or decreases your negative weight. And essentially not physical weight, but, you know, emotional weight, whatever, or physical even. And so if she's smoking marijuana against the rules and that allows her to relax more, that could be considered performance enhancing. So here's the thing that we have to look at as addicts is, you know, she said she used it to cope. And a lot of people might use a glass of wine at night to cope with a stressful day or whatever. And marijuana may be the same thing. And it was a serious matter that she was dealing with. However, as addicts, that's often how we start our use, is we start by coping, and then we use it to cope again when we have a worse day or maybe something not as stressful. Then what do we do next? Then it starts going to dependence, and then it starts going to addiction. And so my drug of choice isn't alcohol, but alcohol is exactly what took me back to opiates. It took me back to cocaine, then back to opiates.
Right.
And so it's not that I'm trying to call marijuana a gateway, though it was my gateway, you know what I mean, to drugs. And so I just know that I got to be careful. No matter how socially accepted it is, I have to treat it just like alcohol. It's mind altering to me. I got to stay away from it. And, you know, not make any decisions that I might regret. Here's the way I think of things, you know, is if I choose not to smoke marijuana or not to drink, or let me say, if I choose to drink or choose to smoke marijuana, at some point whether it be 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days, 5 months, 5 years from now, I might say, you know what? I shouldn't have done that. I might have a regret. If I don't smoke or don't drink just today, I will never say like, you know what? I should have drank that day, or I should have smoked that day. You know what I mean? So it's about living life without regrets, man. And so make the decision. You have your willingness be something that allows you to make the decisions that you'll have the least regrets from. And marijuana happens to be one of mine. And I bet you she regrets it, dude.
Oh yeah, 100%. As young as she is, and then coping with something that serious in her life is definitely a red flag for dependency in the future. And I would hate to see a superstar like her, who's so amazing. My daughter gets to look up to her as an amazing woman in sports, 5'1", that fast, that, trains that hard. And I'd hate to see that be the outcome 10, 20 years from now.
Her mom dying is probably a lot more to cope with than this. However, she's got a lot more social pressure to cope with now. So, you know,
and then missing Tokyo. I hope that, you know, we were talking on our live stream Sunday about bad things that happen to people. A lot of people look at this situation with her as like, oh, that sucks. This is horrible. But as a recovering addict and knowing the night Steph promises, right? We will not regret the past nor shut the door on it.
Right.
This could be a thing that works out for her good. And she's going to look back and be like, well, I'm glad it happened because it led to even better things in the future, because now she's going to be a little bit more cautious and her eyes are a little bit more wide open to the, it's a great learning experience that's going to steer her clear from future disaster.
I agree. Dude, look at a lot of people that end up getting like big things happen to them in public. They often end up with substance use issues because they're coping with so much. And right now she's right on that edge where she has a lot of people behind her, but also a whole country now that's like, we might not win the relay, or we might not win the gold because of you, and there's people that are mad. And so I'm just saying that's a lot to deal with as a 21-year-old. So I just hope she makes good decisions, bro, to your point.
I'm a guy, got her back 100% and support her through this whole journey.
Amen. Me too.
Glad to have you on the show. And we always, these addict reviews are going to be coming a lot, and we have to have your comment and your every time. So we'll be definitely
absolutely
in the future, brother.
Looking forward to it, man. Thanks for doing what you do, bro.
All right, bro. Peace.
There's no reason to suspend her if it was for that. I mean, that's kind of silly. I mean, with everything that's going on right now, especially like if you're a transgender, you can go into the Olympics. It doesn't really make sense for smoking weed.
Right.
I mean, I'm like a male is like genetically like has more testosterone than a girl.
Yeah.
So just smoking weed, it's a plant that's legal in the States.
Yeah, it's not even
that bad.
Yeah.
So for me, it seems really ridiculous.
I agree, dude. Totally.
I personally think that she should have not gone disqualified because it's not a very crazy drug that will distract her or like harm other people. It's just a drug that sometimes some people need to take to calm themselves.
Personal thoughts on it is she wouldn't have gotten in trouble if she went after and got drunk or something. And that technically impairs your body more than what weed would,
Yeah.
Me personally, like I'm into the MMA and everything. Like I do Ninja Warrior kind of stuff all the time.
Yeah.
I'm MMA fighting all the time. And personally, I smoke.
Yeah.
And personally, I'm the same way. Like I don't feel like it would impair in any way.
Yeah.
Like there's the problems with stars dying from car accidents, but again, that's usually not even weed related. That's usually with alcohol or some other substances. And so I mean, personally, I don't see the problem with that. Like,
girl should be allowed to run. You know what I mean? If she's not in a state that, or in a place that says, hey, you're not allowed to smoke it, then that's another story. But her community, allows it. So she should be able to go. The judges are dumber than the participants.
So you smoke weed, you get suspended. But if you're a man, biologically, you can take estrogen and then go compete against biological women. And that's okay. What do you think about that? Gabrielle Union says weed is great for many a thing, but running faster is not one of them. Let her run. I agree, let her run in Tokyo. Here's what Odell Beckham Jr. thinks. George smoked weed and still got to pilot the Enterprise. Heather Gay, normalize weed. Seth Rogen says, the notion that weed is problematic, drug, is rooted in racism. It's insane that Team USA would disqualify one of the country's most talented athletes over thinking that's rooted in hatred. It's something they should be ashamed of. Also, if we'd made you fast, I'd be Flojo. Pothead Jonathan Van Ness. To punish this incredible athlete for cannabis, this prohibition has beeped up so many people's lives, I just can't even. He says, we love you. And what would a topic be without a chime in from Snoop Dogg? We're not gonna get into this one, but what's her beef with Lil Nas? AOC called the International Olympic Committee's anti-doping policy, administered and overseen by WADA, an instrument of racist and colonial policy. And of course, what does she use the platform for? To call people racist. It's on the list, she tested positive, they suspended her for 1 month. Unlike the girl who blamed it on the burrito, she got 4 years, and it was testosterone. But hey, they find that kind of testosterone in pork. So here's my last thoughts. At the end of the day, those rules are set in stone and they're in place. She broke them, she got suspended. That's what happened, that's the facts. Should policies be changed and we'd be looked at different on that level of athleticism? Absolutely. Is it enhancing? No. Everybody knows what people look like on weed. Should she be able to run? I would love for her to be able to run. She's an inspiration. The fact that my daughter can watch a girl this small run that fast is amazing. And my daughter can look up to her and be inspired about things that she can accomplish in her life. There's no doubt she's put a ton of hard work and effort to get where she's at. She's not an addict, like me. It's not making her life unmanageable, like me. And this is an Addicts review on current events in the crazy world we live in.